Hi, I'm Officer Paul Rondeau, the Manchester Police Department. I'm here in Victory Park right now, and I'm going to talk to you today about some safety tips that you can use while you're living and working in the urban environment. Whenever I do a safety talk, I always tell people to remember 3 words. Trust your instincts. Our instincts were put there for a reason. And if you're walking down the street or you're going into the parking garage and you see something that makes you feel uncomfortable, if the hair on the back of your neck stands up, if you get goosebumps on your arm, if you've got that sick feeling in your stomach, those are your instincts telling you that something is wrong and dangerous and you need to change your course of action. That's very important. The second thing I want to tell people is that you need to be always aware of your surroundings. We tend to be creatures of habit. When we're going to work in the morning, we always drive the same route. We like to park in the same spot. What happens is, because we're creatures of habit, we don't pay attention to all the things that are going on around us. We need to remember that every day when you're going to work or you're parking in the parking garage, those surroundings are going to be different. And as long as we stay aware of those surroundings and what's happening around us, we'll be safer. If you're going for a walk and you feel like you're being followed by someone, one thing you have to remember is most of the criminals that we have in this city are opportunistic criminals. What do I mean by that? They're looking for a quick opportunity to sneak up on someone and use the element of surprise to steal that purse or steal that wallet from a person who may be walking. What we can do about that is, as you're walking, turn around, glance back, let the person know that you've seen them. This takes away the element of surprise and it takes away their opportunity. They'll move on to possibly another person or they'll just give up. A lot of people have asked me about personal safety products, and they would like to carry something that they can use that will keep them safe. The first thing that a lot of people ask about is pepper spray. Now, as a law enforcement officer, I do have a pepper spray right here, and this is something that you really have to understand its limitations if you're going to carry it. Today, it's fairly calm, there's not a lot of wind, but if you were to use this in a windy situation, it could possibly blow back at you. Also, if you're too close to your attacker and you spray them and the attacker puts their hand out, you could run into a situation where the pepper spray actually comes back into your face. This is obviously something we wouldn't want to happen. In addition to that, all pepper spray has an expiration date on it. If you are a person who carries pepper spray with you on a regular basis, you should probably check the expiration date. There's an aerosol in here, and typically after about a year that aerosol is no longer in use. So what's going to happen then? You're going to go to spray the pepper spray and nothing will come out. We don't want that to happen, obviously. So I think pepper spray has a lot of limitations, and it's not something that I would recommend someone carry for personal protection. People have asked me about carrying a knife or a gun or something like that, a deadly type weapon. And you have to remember, if you're going to carry something like that, it could possibly be used against you. This is not a situation we want you to be involved in. I carry a gun every day. I'm a professional. I know how to retain my weapon should I need to. I think that people who have questioned whether or not they want to carry a gun have to understand that that gun could possibly be used against you, or a knife or something like that. So we don't necessarily recommend carrying those types of weapons. The one thing that we do recommend carrying is what's called a personal alarm. Now, a personal alarm is a product like this. It's very small, it can be carried on you. It's not a weapon, but it does have a loud, piercing alarm. So that if someone is approaching you that makes you feel uncomfortable and you believe you're about to be attacked, you can use this to attract attention to your area. The way that you do that is you simply pull the pin. Once the pin is pulled, they cannot shut this off. And I'll demonstrate it for you here. As soon as I pulled that pin, everybody in this park looked in my direction. That's because this is a loud 110 decibel personal alarm. These are available on the internet. All you have to do is go on a search engine and type in personal alarm. The price for something like this is about $9.99. Very reasonable for personal protection, and again, it cannot be used against you. That's what I like about these. When you're walking, you obviously want to stay on areas like the sidewalk. There's a lot of traffic driving by, there's a lot of people, and it's typically a safer place than taking a shortcut like you would in an alley where there's not as many people and possibly there might be criminal activity happening in there. At nighttime, you want to make sure that you're in a well-illuminated area where there's street lights or some other type of ambient lighting, and again, there's traffic driving by, providing some type of surveillance for you so that people will see you while you're walking. That's the safer way to go. Obviously, a lot of people who work in Manchester use parking garages to park their cars. We want to make sure that you're safe when you're doing so, so here's some tips that you can use when you're parking your car in a garage. First of all, most important is lock your doors. I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that your doors are secure when your car is in the garage. Now, when you approach your car after you've returned to it, you want to make sure that you look, do a visual check of the back seat, make sure there's nobody back there, make sure none of your windows have been broken or your car has been damaged in any way. If that does happen, you want to make sure that you notify the security at the garage or the police department. You also want to make sure that you're completely aware of your surroundings when you're in the garage. I see people all the time getting out of work at the end of the day. They want to make a phone call on their cell phone and they're walking through the parking garage, talking on their cell phone, not paying attention. It's important that when you're here, you want to always be paying attention to what's going on around you. When using the stairway in a parking garage, you want to make sure that you're aware of a few things. Obviously, you want to constantly be looking around at your surroundings, but you also want to make note of anybody that may be loitering inside the stairwell. Oftentimes in the winter, people will come in here to get warm, and that can present a problem and possibly an unsafe situation. If you enter a stairwell in a parking garage and there's somebody in there or you hear noises that make you feel uncomfortable, leave immediately. The safest place to walk in a parking garage is actually up on the side of the ramps where the cars park. That's because there's a lot of traffic going around the parking garage and you're not going to have those same problems that you would in the stairwell. Obviously, living and working in an urban environment has certain nuisances that come with being in a city of the size of Manchester. One of the complaints we get in the downtown area is panhandlers. This is something that we do take seriously, but we want you to consider a couple of options if anyone ever approaches you asking for money. The first thing we'd like you to do is ignore them. If you're such a nice person and you're so generous that you cannot ignore them, then we ask that you be firm but polite. Tell them, no thank you, I don't have any money. Keep walking. Okay, these people have all kinds of stories. They're going to try to gain your sympathy and they're going to try to get you to give them some money. They have a million stories and we'd like you to just keep walking and ignore them. If it becomes a real big nuisance or a problem outside of your office, make sure you tell everybody inside the office that you work at that there's something going on where there's a panhandler in the area and that everybody gets on the same page and does not give them money. We also want to be notified as a police department so that we can go and address that situation immediately. Number one rule though, do not give them money. If you give them money outside of your office today, guess what's going to happen tomorrow? They're going to be outside the office again. So again, number one rule when it comes to panhandlers, do not give them money. That's what we're going to encourage everyone to do here in the city of Manchester. So I hope you've enjoyed our safety tips for today. And remember, being aware and alert is always your best safety defense. Thanks and have a great day.